Hi, welcome to, I guess what is our first edition of Through the Stained Glass, Conversations on Film and Culture Through a Christian Lens. And I guess because there's only one chair on this side and two chairs on that side, I am your host, Richard Ramsey, and I'm also the artistic director of City on a Hill in Louisville, Kentucky. And today we're gonna be talking about the Lego Batman movie.
I am so sorry. As soon as I get back to the Batcave, I will make sure that Alfred puts seatbelts on there. But for the time being, I'm just gonna put my arm right here.
And in the Lego Batman movie, our esteemed hero, Batman, is taking on all of the villains of Gotham City, plus I think villains from other cinematic universes.
The Riddler!
Catwoman!
Mew mew!
Penguin.
Gentleman Ghost! Calendar Man!
And the Condiment King!
Are you making some of those up?
And he's also trying to manage that with a son he's adopted.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
The young orphan you adopted at the gala.
I thought I was being sarcastic.
Hello, secret camera.
Interestingly enough. So my esteemed guests today are my lovely wife, Christina Ramsey, who was like, Richie, the kids are driving me crazy. I've got to get out of the house. Just come up with any excuse to get me out of here. And I was like, oh, okay, how about we come up with a show where we look at movies through a Christian worldview. So here we are. And then our other guest is Landon Brewer, who's the graphic designer at City on a Hill. So we were asking him to bring his keen eye and style to bear on.
No pressure.
A lot of pressure.
On this movie. So I guess the first thing I'd like to ask is what about the movie like really stood out to you, you know, that you're thinking about the next day, or if any of your friends were to say, hey, tell me about the movie, what are some of the kind of things you would say?
I would say prepare for a lot to go on. Lots of jokes, lots of visuals. It's a little overwhelming, but in its best way possible. So yeah, what did you think, Christina?
I would agree. It was very intense, in the sense of visually intense is a good way of putting it.
You know, like I felt like it was just like one long like caricature of this Batman icon that we've grown up watching really since like the 60s, and just essentially poking fun of all the Batman characters over the last 50 years.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how we keep getting these comic iterations, or we circle back around to these comic iterations of Batman. So, you know, there's like the 1960s Batman, which was kind of a wink at the camera, campy presentation.
What is it, Batman?
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's awfully funny.
And there's actually a lot of references to
Right.
that Batman in this Batman.
It was
And then-
also that, again,
Yeah.
almost like it was a wink at the camera. This is hilarious.
Right.
We all get it.
Yeah, and then we get, you know, the more dark Tim Burton Batmans, and then, you know, of course, the Christopher Nolan, which was like a very serious, realistic Batman. It's like every once in a while we go, okay, enough. We need to like let off some steam about how ridiculous this premise is.
Yeah.
I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016 and 2012 and 2008 and 2005 and 1997 and 1995 and 1992 and 1989 and that weird one in 1966.
I have aged phenomenally.
So how did you feel about the lighting? Because I know like when you're doing a video production, lighting's really important. Like there's nothing worse than when you're watching a video and it's like flat lighting, like no contrast, no shades. And it looks like they just tutted out two lights to just shine on whatever they were filming.
Yeah, well,
Lighting might be the most important thing in an entire film, you know.
yeah.
And so
Well, I think City understands that.
clearly they do.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things City understands or is trying to understand, you know, we would be remiss, and you know, like Christians are not allowed to just, you know, go have fun and just go watch a movie just because it's fun. Like we have to, you know, extract some kind of moral or message from it. Otherwise, we're not doing our jobs. So, are there any worldview aspects of the film or takeaways that struck you or stuck out to you in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I think in any movie, even something as trivial as Lego Batman, I mean, I think you have a worldview, you know, layered there. It might be really, really deep, and so you might have to really kind of search for it. I mean, I think you see things as silly as Batman and his egotistic kind of attitude towards life and how he's really self-centered and has a lot of pride. I think you see things like that, and then ultimately his fall because of these essentially sins in his life. And then I think it's really interesting, like there's this kind of back and forth of Batman needs the Joker and the Joker needs Batman. So like there's an interesting conversation I think to be had of Does evil need goodness? Does goodness need evil?
You think you're my greatest enemy?
Who else drives you to one-up them the way that I do?
Superman.
Superman's not a bad guy.
I like to fight around.
Are you seriously saying that there is nothing special about us?
There is no us. Never will be. Now, I gotta defuse that bomb.
I would say, though, in this particular movie, though, because of, I think it's partly just who Batman is by his nature. You know, he's a good guy with a real dark edge. You know, it kind of plays around with this sort of gray area that he's not. He's not Superman, where he's like squeaky clean and you know, absolutely perfect and good. But he's got this kind of rough edge, and I felt like that was kind of true for the majority of the characters. There wasn't like, oh, here is the ultimate bad guy, here is the ultimate good guy.
Well, plus
it was
because they're
gray.
taking facets of them and then ramping them up for comedy.
Right.
It's like, it is the most obnoxious aspects of every character are so prominent.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it does make you kind of go, yeah, Batman might be an insufferable person to hang around if you were actually a real person.
I'm interested to go now, like watch the other Batman movies and see if it's like skewed at all now that I've seen this. So, oh man, he's a total jerk.
Yeah. Well, another thing, and you see this coming up again, like in a lot of movies, like I think of Cars by Pixar, where you have this very gifted, talented loner who's arrogant and has to learn to be a team player and has to learn humility. So there was that. And then the other thing I noticed was this theme of, you know, being a team player and not going it alone. And, you know, think of like Paul saying, you know, we're part of we're a body part, you know, and so on the one hand you have uniqueness and unique attributes, but you are part of a whole and you have to work within a whole. So I thought that was interesting, as opposed to, you know, sometimes you get like an extreme individualism, like you're all that matters, your personality, your desires, your dreams, versus the group and the collective is all that matters. So I thought that was an interesting thing to explore in a kid's film.
You guys ready to save Gotham City?
I guess that's as good as any place to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching. We'd love to hear what you thought of the Lego Batman movie or what your kids thought of it. Also, we'd also love to hear in the comments, what is your favorite Batman movie and what is your least favorite Batman movie and why? So until next time, see you later.
Hey, Batman! I'm rubbing my butt all over your stuff. We're gonna have to rename this the Buttmobile.